Hi everyone, welcome to my fourth and final video in my crystal grid series. Today we're going to bring together everything from video 1, 2 and 3. So if you haven't gone and watched those already, please do, because there's some knowledge and some ideas in there that we'll be incorporating in this video, and it might help make more sense to what I've created here. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you and taking you through the process of a crystal grid that I created that helped me get my first publishing contract. Before we dive into this, I'm just going to mention that I've received a couple of comments in the past about how crystal healing and working with grids and things like pendulums and tarot cards is occultist and is not in alignment with God and true spirituality. So I just want to address that from my own perspective. I always welcome other people's understanding and perspectives of this kind of work. We're all different and we all have different experiences in life which form our own perception and how we work with things. As someone who's spent over 10 years dedicating my work to helping and empowering people, I can genuinely say that my intention comes from the highest possible place. And I've come to the point after sitting with this and thinking about it that I do work with crystals and tarot cards and objects like this, but I believe that there is no such thing as an inherently evil tool. I know that there's a lot of history with tarot cards and its use for less than honorable purposes, but the cards themselves are not evil or bad in my understanding. They are simply a tool, and it depends on what intention and purpose you bring to the tool as to how that energy is put out into the world. The same with crystals. Crystals are natural objects of the earth. They're gifts from God. They are gifts from the universe. Whatever your spiritual belief is, crystals are of the earth, and they are there like everything else on the earth for us to be able to access and use. So in the same way that we might chop a tree or collect wood to burn and produce fire, or use a rock to shape into a tool, crystals are also gifts from the earth that we can collect and use for higher purpose work. So that's my 2 cents worth when talking about this subject. So if this triggers anyone, then please feel free not to watch. Otherwise, if you are able to keep an open mind and come to this kind of work with a place of higher intention and honorable intention, with the true purpose of doing good and sharing empowerment and enlightenment and healing with others, then I invite you to watch and take whatever you can from what I have to share with you. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the exact process that I took to create a crystal grid for manifesting my dream of becoming a published author. In 2019, I wrote and finished a manuscript for my first book. I've never had anything published before. I don't have 50,000 or 100,000 social media followers. Not a lot of people know who I am because a lot of my success has come through organic Google searches. So my website is ranked on the first page of Google. That's www.evolvehealing.net. That's my training institute. And because of that, I get lots of people visiting my website, and I haven't really needed to put myself out there on social media and develop a big following because my business has been successful through organic Google searches. So no one really knows who I am unless you're specifically looking for crystal healing courses or energy healing courses. So I knew that it was going to be a tough effort to put myself out there and get a reputable big publishing house to notice me. I was certainly not really thinking about self-publishing. It was there's a drive in me that really wanted to be published by a publishing house, maybe my ego, maybe my desire, I don't know, but I was just being guided to being published by a publishing house and not to self-publish. So I created the manuscript, and I realized that I was going to need some help to get over the line here because I was a nobody with no publishing record. So I created this grid. I think it was at the end around October in 2019. I created a sigil. I sat I decided on which publishing house I wanted to publish my book. So I meditated on it, I did my research, I sat with it, and I decided if I was going to achieve this, I had to be single focused. I wasn't casting my net all over the place. I was just single laser focused. So I knew that I was going to submit this manuscript to one publishing house that I really wanted to work with, and this was the way that I had to go. So I needed all the help I could get. So I created this sigil as I sat with it, and the sigil represented my book, the name of my book, the name of the publishing house, and how I wanted the book to perform, which was global. So I'm going to pop a picture of the sigil up on the screen here, and I'm going to talk you through the symbology of it. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the circle here, which represents the globe. So I wanted this book to be international. I wanted a global audience. The rectangle in the middle represented the book because I wanted this to be in print, not just a digital book. And then there's an R in the center because the title of my book started with an R. And incidentally, so did the name of the publishing company also start with an R. So this sigil took me about 3 or 4 goes to get right, and I finally created a sigil that I was happy with that was going to be the basis for my crystal grid. After I created the sigil, I decided to select some crystals that I wanted to work with. Now, those of you that have been following me for a while or who've done my courses know that I'm a bit of a minimalist. So other crystal healers like to use loads of crystals all over the body, whereas I tend to focus on just a few power crystals that I work with. And I don't like things to be too busy because busyness and clutter kind of crowds my mind, and I love spaciousness. So my crystal grid is not a very complex one or a very busy one. I really knew that to get this over the line, I needed to be confident, I needed to trust myself, I needed to draw on my creative powers, and citrine was the only stone that was going to, that really resonated with me for this purpose. So I chose 4 citrine crystal points, which you can see around the grid, the 4 citrine points, all pointing in towards this project or towards my sigil, which was the the book that I was going to create. So as you know, citrine is a stone for abundance, for light. So I entrusted the citrine to banish any self-doubt, any fear, to attract abundance to this project, to manifest my most creative self, to approach the publisher. And I put it at 4 corners because to me that just felt balanced. I also placed a clear quartz point in the center. Clear quartz is an amazing stone because it can be programmed for your own specific intention. You can work with it at the third eye, the crown, or the higher crown chakras through meditation to program it with the intention that you want to manifest. So I had done this with this clear quartz point, and I visualized the success of the book. I visualized signing the publishing contract. I visualized the conversation, the phone call that I was going to have when the publisher called me to say, hey, Kate, we'd love to publish your book. So I visualized all of that, and I imprinted that visualization into the crystal. And then I placed the crystal in the center of the grid. That was the core. That was my intention captured in that single crystal. Now, clear quartz is wonderful because it can also emit that programmed information into the energetic sphere, so it can send that intention out. So I felt like it needed to be in the center of the grid. Finally, what I did is I took my tarot cards. Now, I don't actually work with tarot very much. I don't know how to make spreads or read them. I certainly don't include tarot in any of my professional work. But because I'm really attracted to and drawn to symbology and meaning and drawing meaning out of everything, I felt that I needed to include these tarot cards in the spread as well. And when you're making your grid for whatever your intention is, feel free to add whatever you need to add that meaning and depth, whatever is symbolic to you. That might even be photographs, it might be an object or a special item, it might be a leaf or a rock that you picked up somewhere along the way. Add whatever feels right into your grid to really, I guess, grow and expand and add depth to the energy that the grid's going to hold. So looking back at my grid, you can see the 4 cards that I chose here. I've got the 3 of Wands, the 6 of Wands, the 8 of, it was Strength, the 8th Major Arcana card, and a Golden Prophecy card. The Golden Prophecy card is a card that a lady had given me a few years ago. I had met her at an event, and it was just at the very start of my work with manifestation and the law of attraction. And she gave me this card. She was an intuitive. I picked it out of her deck, and she said to me, all of your endeavors are going to come to pass. And this is what the Golden Prophecy card is. It says, yes, everything you touch turns to gold. Believe, achieve, and you will succeed. So I was intuitively guided to add that to the grid to manifest what it was that I wanted to achieve. And the other cards, if you're interested in tarot, you can do your own research. But in a nutshell, the other cards that I drew intuitively from the deck, I had my eyes closed, but I just had every intention in my mind's eye that what I wanted to achieve. And the other cards that I intuitively drew seemed to support that journey as well. So the 3 of Wands is the card of opportunity. The 6 of Wands is the card of victory. So it tells us that a major ambition will be fulfilled. And then the Strength card is a picture of a woman who has overcome her fears to tame a lion. So this is incidentally resonates with, it's governed by the sign of Leo, and I happen to be a Leo. And I felt that this card really closed off the circle nicely of what I needed to manifest this goal. What I forgot to mention was I actually created this grid at the foot of my bed on the side of the bed that I sleep at. So I wanted this grid to be the last thing I saw every night before I hopped into bed and the first thing I saw when I hopped out of bed. So I could keep that energy and that goal and vision alive in my mind's eye. So I made it there, and each night for about 2 weeks, I sat and I meditated and I stared at it and I visualized and I felt all the feelings that I mentioned previously of how it was going to feel signing that contract. I even spoke out loud and went through the process of accepting the phone call. I was talking to myself. But it really brought alive in me that feeling and what it was going to be like when I achieved what I wanted. So with my grid in place, a couple of months passed and I wrote my cover letter. I submitted the manuscript to my one and only publisher that I had my heart set on, and then I had to wait. I'm not sitting here saying create a grid and all your dreams are going to come true. You have to do the work as well. What I'm saying is create the grid, be mindful, keep it active in your mind's eye, keep the energy live, and that energy will guide you into what you need to do to make it happen. So who knows, if I hadn't have meditated over this grid every night, if I hadn't have worked so intensely with that energy and sat with and held these crystals, would I have been guided to have written the exact words I did on my cover letter? Would I have been guided to post my manuscript on the exact date that I did, sneaking in about 1 week before COVID hit and the publishing companies shut down worldwide for about 3 months? You know, would all of these opportune steps and things have happened if I had not worked so hard on creating this altar of manifestation and intent? So that's what I offer to you guys. I'm offering to you your altar, your crystal grid as an opportunity for you to draw out your deepest desires, pull out your deepest heart's goals and intentions, and put them, channel them into a physical, energetic form, like that's just loaded with that energy that can send it out into the world and work for you when your conscious mind is busy and your subconscious mind has switched off. So when you are cooking dinner and you've got kids yelling in the background and the phone's ringing and you're not fully focused on your intention, your grid is there doing that for you. It's there sending your intention out. So there's no break, there's no rest. Your intention is constantly being emitted out into the universe. This is how crystal grids work. And this is how you can incorporate sigils and other mystical and energy loaded items into your crystal grids to bring about your desired reality. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I really hope you've enjoyed this 4-part series on working with crystal grids. If you'd love to learn more, then please jump across to my training website, which is www.evolvehealing.net. I also offer one-on-one healing sessions, and these are backed up with your own personalized crystal prescription afterwards. So if that's something that you'd like to experience and you'd love to work with me and experience a distance crystal healing with your own crystal body grid provided afterwards, then please get in touch. That link is also on my website. Thank you so much. Sending you lots of love, lots of success and abundance on your healing journey, and I will touch base with you soon. Bye.